Hey, shout out to everybody out there on Team Banky Pound, man. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the support. Man, it's blazing out here today. I'm talking about hot, man. It's blazing. But I was sitting in the house, man, and I was reading my comments and everything, and I got this comment that made me think about dropping y'all this little short story about, dude asked me who was one of the funniest sellers or who the funniest seller that I ever had, you know. So I'm assuming he mean comical, you know. But I'm going to tell this story about a dude which is not really comical, but it's comical. You see what I'm saying? It's not really comical. It's nothing really to laugh at. But when you think about it, it's just comical. And when I say comical, I'm talking about the delivery of what he was saying, not the actual factual thing that he was talking about, but the delivery of it was just hilarious to me at the time. I could just remember it. It was just a funny thing, man. I remember trying not to laugh when he was expressing it, but it was just so funny to me the way he was delivering it, because he was dead serious, but it just sounds so insane that it was just crazy. So anyway, man, but first of all, I want to say appreciate all the love, man, for all the short stories, all the regular stories, 33 years of prison stories, man. We rolling. I appreciate it, man. We over 60K, man. We looking for 100K. Let's go. We on the road to 100K. Salute. Let's get it, TBP, man. We out here. We hitting the streets, man. We making no difference. We are changing the minds of these young people. That's what we want to do. We want to keep them out of the penitentiary, put them on the straight path. So we out here, man. This is a movement. Make no mistake about it. I appreciate all the love, man. We got 7 million views, man, and over 60,000 subscribers. But with them 7 million views, man, we should have 100, 200,000 subscribers. So let's go. Let's get it. The more we got, the more people we reach, the more lives we change. And that's our whole goal over here. So let's do it, man. I believe in y'all. Y'all keep rocking with me, man. We're going to keep on pushing out this positive content. Let me drop this stuff on y'all, man, for the sun eat me up out here. And next time y'all see me, I'll be dark skinned. I won't be pecan tan no more. So let me get to it. But check it out. I had this dude, man, one time that was my cellie, man. I spoke about him before in one of my videos. He was burnt up. He had set himself on fire before, trying to commit suicide. So it's like 80% of his body is burnt. 85% of his body is burnt. So it always looked like to me when he moved or did anything that he was in pain, because of the way his skin looked and the way his face looked. It just always looked like he was in pain, but he said that he wasn't. He said it had subsided. He wasn't hurting that much no more. But to me, it just always looked like that he was in pain. But anyway, he was a crazy seller, man. He was crazy too. Even with the burnt stuff, you would get caught up in trying to feel sympathetic for him. But in actuality, he was a lost in the hearted dude, man. Very lost in the heart. If y'all remember the story, I don't remember which one it was, but it had to do something with Sussex. So it probably was one of my Sussex stories where I told you I caught him going through my stuff. He was going in my property when I was going to the visiting room, and I ended up having to put hands on him, and I didn't really want to do it, but I felt so violated and so disrespected that this is just the nature of the beast. This is prison. This is what needs to be done, and he definitely needed more than what I actually gave him. So he really got away scot-free. But with that being said, man, I can remember one night we was locked in there, and we was just talking, and he was trying to explain to me how he got himself in the position that he was in, you know, being locked up in prison or whatever. And as I told y'all before, we usually don't talk about those things. But he just felt compelled to talk this night, so I felt compelled to listen. So I'm listening to him and everything, and he was like, yeah, you know, he had been in prison before. He had got out. And when he got out, he said that he had got a good job, like a construction job. He was married, had kids. He was doing the right thing. Everything was good for him. You know, his boss was super good. His boss would, you know, give him money, give him advance on his check when he needed it or had to take care of something, all of that. He said he was straight. You know, he had good supervisor or whatnot. And he said everything was doing good, man. Everything was going great for him. And he had some old friends that he used to chop it up with before he went to prison, and he started chopping it up with him when he got off of prison. So he said normally when he get off of work, what he would do was he would go over his homeboy house and have a couple of beers and smoke a couple of J's. He said his homeboy always had girls over there, people over there, and they all be over there drinking and smoking. But he said when he went over there this one night, They was over there, and everybody was drinking and smoking. And he had a couple of girls over there, but the girls then and the guys were doing crack, right? So he said he had never did crack, never had seen crack, and never had been around crack. So he said, man, they was doing it and they was acting like they was so high and out of this world. And he said the girls got all freaky and the dudes felt like, you know, like, whoa, man, this don't feel so good. So he was like, boom. He said, like, man, this homeboy asked him, he said, you want to try it? So he said he didn't want to do it because of the simple fact that he just heard the name crackhead, which is a good philosophy. You know what I'm saying? You already know the history of it. Why would you want to try something like that? I just don't get that to this day. Why people would go and try something that you already know has been tried and proven to be no good for you. Period. But nevertheless, people do it all the time. So anyway, he was like, man, nah, I don't want to try that, man. Whoa, whoa. You know what I'm saying? Nah, don't even, you know, he said he slightly even felt disrespected that the dude would even ask him that. So he was like, man, no, you know what I'm saying? So he said he left. He said he came back the next night when he got off work. They was over there. They was doing the same thing, right? And he said the girl was telling him to, you know, buy him some of the crack, you know what I'm saying? And she'll, you know, do whatever for him, right? So he said he felt compelled to do it because he was trying to get with the little girl, you know what I'm saying? So he said he get her a little piece of whatever. And, no, he said he go holler at his homeboy. And his homeboy said, oh, you trying to get with her? So his homeboy give him some. So he ain't even actually had to pay for it. So he got it. He gave it to her. You know what I'm saying? The girl, you know, did whatever she wanted to do for him. You know what I'm saying? Which I'm sure he appreciated. So after that, he said that he saw how she got, and she just was talking about how good it felt and how it made her feel and the way she started acting and whatever. So she started telling him, man, you should try, you know what I'm saying, smoke with me, you know, get high with me, man, so we could just chill, So he said, boom, he wanted to try a piece. He said, man, the girl come talk to me into trying a piece of that stuff, man. He said, Banky, man, when I tried that stuff, man, he said, I'm not lying to you. He said, the only way I can explain it to you was when I took the first hit, I didn't really feel nothing. So I was like, boom. So she was like, no, inhale it, hold it in real tough. So he said he inhaled it, hit it, held it in for a long time. And he said when he let it out, he said, man, it was like my face came off of my body, turned around and looked at me and was like, this is good as I don't know what. So he said he felt like he was just floating on cloud nine. He said, man, it's the greatest feeling I ever had. He said, it's better than sex. It's better than everything, man. I just felt so good, man. And I was like, man, this is a super high. He said he had tried a lot of things in his life getting high, but he said this was like super high for him. And he was like feeling, you know, just in another world. So he said, man, he was like, man, that's crazy. So he said he go holler at his homeboy, so his homeboy give him some more. You know, so he said he takes some home and, you know, he tried it at home, you know. And he said, man, once he did that, he came back, he, you know, hollered at his homeboy again. He said his homeboy gave him some and he was like, boom. He said, but then his homeboy hit him with the old okie doke. He said his homeboy said, look here, bro. He said, man, you know, you my homeboy and everything, man, and I look out for you. I give you this. He said, but this is my business, man. This is what I sell. This I make money. This is how I make money. So if you want some more, man, you know, you gonna have to pay for it. So he said he felt disrespect. Like, what? Man, I ain't gonna pay for no crack, man. Is you tripping, man? Come on, man. Man. And he said, man, he was like, man, F that. I ain't, you know what I'm saying? So he said, he was like, man, I ain't even gonna do it, man. I ain't got time for that. I ain't messing with it. So he said he rolled out. Man, he said he didn't get 20 minutes away before he turned around and came right back, knocked on the door. Homeboy answered the door. He said, man, give me $50 worth of that stuff. And gave him $50, got some, started smoking it. He said, man, it just changed his whole life, messed his whole life up. He said, from that point on, man, I was on it, man. He said, I was smoking. I went from smoking like once or twice a day to smoking every day, all day. He said, man, all my money was going to it. He said, I started borrowing extra money on my job from my boss. My boss would give me advances, and then he was giving me advances, and I was using all the money up for that. I wasn't able to pay the rent. I would stop giving my wife money. I wasn't buying the kids stuff. I wasn't doing all the things that I was supposed to do and supposed to been doing all my responsibilities. just went out the window because it was all about crack. He said, man, the stuff just make you want to just smoke all the time, man. As soon as you get that high and it go away, you want to get it again. And you just keep on getting it, and it don't matter, how much it costs or how much money you messing up. And he said, you ain't thinking about that. All you thinking about is crack and that great feeling that it give you, man. He said, man, it just went haywire. He said, man, then I started getting advances on my job. Then I stopped even going to work. You know what I'm saying? So I couldn't even pay my boss back. So I ended up getting fired. And then after I got fired, my wife, I couldn't pay the bills. She was getting mad. She ended up putting me out. So now I'm fired from my job. I'm put out on the street. And I got a crack habit. And I'm running around and I'm borrowing money from different people. And I can't pay them back. Everything is going into the crack, man. He said, used to keep myself up, dressed all nice, decent and everything. He said, man, I started wearing the same clothes every day. I sold the rest of my clothes. He said, man, I was doing everything. He said, now, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. He said, I ain't no thug. You know what I'm saying? I can't pick up no gun and go rob nobody. I'm not a violent person. You know what I'm saying? He said, I'm not, because that's just me by nature. He said, but I was lying and scheming and plotting to get high. I'm telling my family members, look, let me borrow this. I'm trying to do. He said, but everything I got was going to crack, man. He said, man, it got to the point, man, when you smoke that stuff, man, he said, you just start neglecting everything. He said, because everything that you think you need is in the crack. You started, tricking your mind like it's in the crack. He said, man, I remember I was walking around with the same shoes, man. They had holes in them, and they was getting bad and worn out at the bottom. And I'm saying to myself, the next time I get some money, I gotta, definitely gotta get some shoes. He said, so then when I touch the money and I get some money, he said, then it started working in your brain. He said, man, you be like, do I need the shoes? Do I really need the shoes? My feet hurting and everything. Or do I want the crack? He said, then your mind started telling you, man, you don't need no shoes. What you need shoes for? You need crack. The shoes in the crack. Once you high, brother, you ain't even feel your feet touching the ground. You just gonna be high. You ain't even feel the pain. You don't need it. It's in the crack. The shoes is in the crack. He said, man, everything. He said, everything that you want, everything that you need, your brain be telling you, you don't need food. He said, that's why crackheads be so small. He said, because you be hungry and you be like, man, I need to eat. You start losing weight and everything. He said, but the crack be telling you, man, it's in the crack, brother. Nutrition, vitamins, everything. Just smoke and your hunger pain's gonna go away. It's in the crack. All the food is in the crack. And he said, man, it just was, I'm sitting up there listening to him, and in my mind, I'm thinking this like a comedy act or something, but he dead serious. I'm looking at him and I'm looking at his face and I'm trying not to laugh because it sounds so insane to me, but he like, man, everything you want, man, it just be telling you it's in the crack, man. You don't need nothing. I said, nothing, bro. Come on, man. He said, man, nothing, brother. He said, nothing. You be wanting a woman. You think you want a woman, and you think about crack. Knows how to go see the woman, so I go smoke. Said, man, sex in the crack. Sex is in the crack. It make you feel better when you smoking that crack. Sex in the crack. It's in the crack. He said, everything. You will rationalize and tell yourself that everything is in the crack. You don't need nothing in this world but the crack. That's all you need. And I'm like, man, what? He was like, yeah, man, it's just, then I'm stealing, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. He said, man, and I can remember one time, bro, like I told you, I'm not a violent dude. He said, man, but I remember I was scrambling all day, begging and buying and lying and scheming, and I come up on like $20 or something, and I go to try to cop, you know what I'm saying? He said, you got little young dudes out there selling that stuff. They everywhere. They out there selling it. He said, so, man, it's late at night, man. It's like 2 or 3 in the morning or something, and I see this little boy on a bike, and he like, what you looking for? I said, man, get on. He said, man, what you looking for? He said, I'm looking for some crack, man, some hard. He said, the dude said, I got some. So he said, what? So he said, he bust his hand open and show him all these little rocks and stuff. He said, man, which one you want? So he said, he started picking through. He said, let me get that. He said, boom, he gave it to him. He take the joint. The dude take the money, pedal off on the bike. He said he walked around the corner. He bust the joint open because he ain't got high all day because he been scrambling. He said he bust the joint open. He get to looking at the joint and feeling the joint. He said, man, it's a piece of soap. The boy done cut up pieces of soap and made it like crack. And he out there selling dummies, what they call dummies. And his soap is not even crack. He said, bro, I was so mad. He said, I started looking for this little young boy. I stayed out there all night looking for him, man, till sunlight came up. He said, if I would have found him, man, I probably would have killed him. He said, that's just how mad I was, and I'm not even valid, but it turned me valid because I was so hurt that this dude done beat me out my last bit of money, and I wanted to get high so bad, man. He said it was just crazy. He said, man, and it just skyrocketed, man. It just went to another place where I just couldn't control it no more, and my life was just so messed up, man, because I'm thinking everything I need is in the crack. He said, I lost weight, I lost my job, I lost my woman, I lost my friends, I lost my family, I lost my job, I lost respect, all messing with the crack. And I'm telling myself the whole time, I don't need none of that, because all that's in the crack. Crack is my best friend, that's all I need. I don't need none of that, I don't need no friends, I don't need no family, I don't need, it's in the crack. He said, man, I said, bro, that is crazy. That's just an insane story. He said, man, that's my life. You know what I'm saying? He said, man, everything you need is in the crack except for one thing. One thing, that's it. Other than that, everything in the world you need is in the crack. I said, what's the one thing? What you and I'm wondering what he gonna say. He said, the only thing that you need that ain't in that crack is a lighter. It's just a lighter. He said, that's it. Everything else is in the crack. He said, a lighter is your best friend. That's it. Because if you ain't got no lighter, you can't light up. He said, other than that, you don't need nothing. You don't need food. You don't need clothes. You don't need shoes. You don't need friends. You don't need nothing but the crack. It's all in the crack. I said, my God, man, this is insane. So, man, anyway, he says life got so bad and he went so downhill and he couldn't control it. He just wanted to die. And he said, man, one day he just, said he was going to kill himself. He didn't know what to do. I don't know what made him think about, setting himself on fire, because there's a whole lot of more ways to die. It's going to be less painful than that, no pun intended. But he said, man, he set himself on fire, man. He wanted to die. Unfortunately, they just burnt his whole body up, and he survived the situation, but unfortunately just left him the way he is. That's something he got to look in the mirror and live with every day. That he just burnt up like that, and 85% of his body, it's just burnt, man. When you see people that you've seen is just survived a horrific fire, and the way they skin and body is, that's how he looked. You know what I'm saying? And it was just a crazy situation, man. But I just never forgot that. And I told y'all I thought it was hilarious, but I thought not the story, the delivery of the story. The delivery of the story in itself, man, I was just up there listening to him, and I was like, and it was late at night, and I'm trying not to laugh, but I'm like, man, this is crazy. You know what I'm saying? People live crazy lives and go through crazy things, and especially when it comes to drugs, man. Drugs will alter your life, man. Will just mess your life completely up. Your family, your future, your everything, man. So you young fellas out there, man, I hope that you understand that. I hope this story right here resonate with you, man. That just the start of something, or to be talked into something, or to be or conjured into something, or cajoled into doing something. Man, don't do it, bro. Don't do it. Number one, it's a waste of time. Number two, it's all bad for you. And number three, it costs money. You just wasting money for something that you don't need, and something that's definitely harming you and definitely harming your life and your future. Man, drugs, I don't condemn nobody. Everybody makes their own decisions, but when you're young, I'm telling you, brother, choose not to do no drugs. I'm glad that's one thing in my life. I did a lot of stupid, ignorant things in my life. Drugs was never one of them, man, because of the simple fact that I was always scared, and I'm glad I was. Nervous pervs. Nervous pervs messing with them drugs. I just had seen too much coming up and seeing too many people fall to the wayside messing with that. So I'm glad I was nervous pervs, man. I'm 55. I ain't never did drugs in my life. I never will. I have no desire to do it, man, and I hope all you young fellas feel the same way. Duck them drugs, man. Get your life together, man. Your health is your wealth. You want to be 55 and thriving. You don't want to be 55 and looking like you ready to conk out because you done abused so many drugs in all your life. You know what I'm saying? Stay away from drugs, man. It's a lesson for all of us, grown folks and young folks, man. Leave it alone. Your health is your wealth. If you ain't healthy, you not wealthy. I don't care what you got in your bank account, But anyway, man, I wanted to drop that on y'all, because somebody in my comments asked me, man, who's the funniest dude, or what was one of your funniest sellers. He definitely was one of my funniest sellers just for that alone. Other than that, he was a cold, vicious bammer, you know. And I know y'all probably saying, you talk like that about a man that's been burned up. Yeah, I am, because you don't really, he was still doing larceny harder stuff. So he definitely hadn't learned his lesson, you know. And the crazy part about it was, after he tell me all of that crazy stuff, and then I look at him and I tell him, I said, so you mean to tell me all of the stuff you just told me about crack, all the stuff you went through, all the things you lost, all the stuff I said, if a dude was in here and he had crack right now and he was selling it, if I knew a dude, and I'm throwing this out there to him, hypothetical, I said, if I knew a dude in here right now in the spot that had some crack, you know what I'm saying? And he wouldn't even, he's selling it, but he wouldn't even want to sell it. He could give me some. If I could get it and give it to you, would you use it? Man, that man said, man, please don't tell me that, man. Please don't tell me that, man. I said, what you saying? You ain't answered the question. What you saying? He said, do you know somebody? I said, I'm asking you. I'm just saying, what if I did? You know what I'm saying? Would you want some? You know what I'm saying? And he was like, whew. Oh, man, that's a hard one. And just that hesitation and just that thought process alone made me know that's how powerful that stuff is. That's how much that takes over your life. All he went through, the way he is mutilated his body, the losses that he'd had to end up in prison, to all of this stuff, and he would still would even consider using it again. You know what I'm saying? What better message is that to let you know that drugs is just a total destroyer of lives, you know what I'm saying, of families, you know, of futures. Stay away from it, young fellas. Please stay away from it, man. That's my message to y'all, man. That was one of the craziest, funniest sellers that I ever ran across in all my days, man. So I just wanted to drop that on y'all, man. I hope y'all got something out there, man. Y'all be safe out there, be smart, make good decisions, and stay away from drugs. And man, let's get on this road to 100K, man. We out here. Don't make me pull out the left little ham or that left hook. Duck them hooks out there, baby. Them drugs and everything else. All the hooks that can get into you, this negative, duck them. We feed the positive, we starve the negative over here. Team Banky Pound, we out here, we doing it. Let's go. Boom.